يا هلا شيء من ناري
Where's your suit?
Inspection, come on. Get yourselves ready.
Well, I think we are Carmel, and I'm not self-conscious about being a public school. We're an independent school that gives us a lot of opportunities. It also introduces a great deal of pressures financially. I think the advantages of independence are very great indeed.
Can I see your nails, please?
I'm glad we're able to assist so many pupils. I don't consciously say, now, in what respect is Carmel like another public school? Any more, I suspect, than the headmaster of a Quaker school or a Catholic school says, now, in what way are we a Catholic school? And in what way are we an English public school?
No. Chantal, could you put them in that cupboard, please? And we'll have that shirt in as well.
In society generally, people choose to an astonishingly great extent the framework they're going to live in and the people they're going to mix with.
Right. What did you get yesterday?
10.
10.
10.
I think you'll have a 9 today.
Oh,
okay. Right.
What's important is that within a pluralistic society, each group has a sense of morality and a sense of responsibility to the whole society. But I don't think when we're running a school, we should be concerned about just how many groups in society people's been exposed to. I think we should be concerned about the values which that people brings to society as a whole.
She will not come.
2.
Tell the king no. Vashti will not go.
3, 4.
King calls the queen, she says she will not go. What can that mean? There's no such word as no.
The queen, she says she will not go.
Go.
And that means
The king, the queen, oh no.
The school is very good because you do get a lot out of it. For instance, it teaches you how to be independent. When I came at the beginning, I was a bit scared, as most people were. We became a bit like homesick to begin with, and we wanted to kind of go home. But once you settled in, you found the qualities of the school.
I found that making friends was very easy here because you live with each other constantly and you just don't leave them at 5 o'clock when you go home, so they're there with you all the time, and that makes it a lot easier and makes you feel at home.
When I call the queen, there's no such word as no.
It just becomes like a normal thing to go to shul and to have service every morning, and you just kind of learn so much from the Jewish side here.
Before I came to the school, I didn't know much about the praying and everything because I'm a Reformed Jew and not Orthodox. Now I fit into it and I realised that it's not that boring and it's quite fun. I quite like praying. I think it's really good fun.
Adonai,
Jewish law states that women don't have a religious duty to fulfill. This is because when they become mothers, then the domestic life takes priority over morning prayer. Having said that, the girls' service can be tailor-made according to their needs. God is makom because he's in every place. The girls' service takes 10-12 minutes. Following the service, I give them a talk for another 3 or 4 minutes. Because the boys have a religious duty to pray, the boys' service will take 20 minutes or 25 minutes. There is no time to give them a talk about the service. So the whole chemistry of the service, and in fact the chemistry of the boys and the girls, result in the service being quite different. Somebody who fills every possible area of human life.
A credit, progress grade to Deborah Fine, a pass to Alex King, a pass to Darren Lamesh, and a credit to Richard Schaffer. So please with those pupils come. We have 330 pupils, of whom between 60 and 70 come from overseas. The pupils are disparate, but they're disparate in terms of financial and religious background too. The school has between a third and half of its pupils here on greater or lesser assistance. We're not a plutocracy, and we've got great contrasts of means and of privilege in the school, and that's something which we want to continue with. Right. Tonight there'll be a group of visitors going around the school and reliving their former existence here. We have a group of old Carmelians coming down and their wives. Please could you make sure that your dormitories and other areas of the school are suitably tidy as they go around, because they'll have forgotten by now how untidily they lived when they were your age. The very favourable pupil-staff ratio indeed. 60 staff, including the part-timers. Partly the result of the need to maintain the Jewish side of the school alongside the secular side of the school. Members of staff, well before... Most of the staff are non-Jewish. Many of them are thoughtful and committed Christians. We've got some Christian members of staff who really do know more about Judaism than many Jews. That's nice too.
The girls can't wear trousers at Carmel. Their dress has to be of a certain modesty level. They can't have sleeves which are above their elbows. They can't have low-cut dresses. They can't have short skirts. They have to dress very modestly. So we have to encourage that all the time. If a boy goes out with a girl, they're not allowed to hold hands or be having any physical contact at all. We have the kashrus laws here we stick to quite rigidly, so we have to have kosher checks within the house to make sure all the food is kosher. And I think perhaps sometimes they take it a little better from me, because as a non-Jew, there's still things I have to adhere to. So I'm able to say to them, look, I have to stick to these rules as well, so therefore you can too.
Anetta wouldn't mind going before them.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
They said that before.
Yeah, we could put them in. Do you think it's unwise to keep moving people around, even though they want to move?
Especially less. I think they should give them last time.
You think so? Just leave them now.
A definite plan now, and then perhaps leave it for quite a long time.
And
we
say
need
to
to
them,
sort
this
it
is
out
your
now.
dorm and you have to live with it.
I mean, I personally think if you've got like best friends, the best way to keep them being best friends is not to go in a dorm with them. Go with someone who you know you're going to get on well.
That's something you lot could do though, isn't it? Because it comes better from you than from me.
Yeah, but did he become cardinal? No, not 15 to 14, but 15 to 15.
But I think that largely the curriculum is organised on the basis that we'll do everything another school does, plus the Jewish subjects. And I think we have to do that. So it imposes a certain amount of hardship on both pupils and teachers, because otherwise we wouldn't be here. There are some Jewish schools, as you know, where the curriculum is very weighted to Jewish things, and every morning is spent on sacred work, and the afternoons are given to the secular. Well, that doesn't work at Carmel, and we're not looking really for that kind of intake. We're saying we will do everything which other children do, and additionally we'll do Hebrew and Jewish studies and Jewish history.
This was one of the ways in which the Jews were exterminated. Of course, also there were Russian commissars, leaders of the Bolsheviks, but essentially the extermination of Jews was underway. So then how does this allow us to put a date then on a decision for the final solution?
Well, as we said, it was evolutionary. Yeah. So this is perhaps the first step, if you like, in the process of this very active approach, of the final solution.
Yes. All right. I have not yet shown you the documentation there is, mainly from Hitler's secret book, that Jew, in his view, equals Bolshevik. When he invaded Russia, he understood. History is certainly a subject which relates to a child's identity. It tells them about their past. Where do they come from? Now, there are 2 points of identity. The child's identity as an Englishman, if he's born in England, and as a Jew. And it is the responsibility of the course to relate to both of those under the same roof. Not to teach Jewish history separately under the heading of Jewish studies, and then to come to the history classes and learn something completely different, which totally confuses the children. Here you have it all taught and explained, and all the difficulties are ironed out under the same roof.
I mean, the obvious point is the relationship is the Irish wolf. The comment about the Irish wolf in extract B with this curious animal figure on the left. That is the bad side of Ireland. I suppose the man is supposed to be Gladstone, and certainly the woman is supposed to be the good side of Ireland.
Well, we're studying Ireland as part of a course, a general course on British history. And it's important that the students should understand that Ireland is a problem and part of the larger political problem in Britain.
To the rivals. Why are they using
it? Rivaling for Ireland's, what's the word, affection, really, weren't they? Because on the one hand, Gladstone was trying to appease Ireland. On the other side, the Land League was trying to also take Ireland and get Ireland to help them get home.
I'm a Gentile, I'm not a Jewish person.
Yes.
I think it makes no difference to my teaching of Ireland. I think it does make a difference to my teaching of something like the Arab-Israeli conflict. I feel that it's essential that they should understand the other point of view. That they should understand that, for example, the Palestinian Arabs had a particular cause and particular reason. Not that they should be sympathetic with guerrillas, but that they should be sympathetic with the cause of their guerrilla activity. And I think that by and large they are able to do that. And I feel that by and large I serve my interest best by not stirring things up and by starting with a sympathetic approach.
I'm doing my usual act, Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson?
My reference on that one, yeah? Michael Jackson.
Yeah, both of you mentioned in my I know, the Sherman, yeah. Shall I be Margaret Thatcher? Give me something funny. I really want to, I just don't know what to do, I've got no idea. Let's do Joe Collins, I think that's a bit OTT.
There's been a lot of talk about
this act. Maybe just a little bit too much talk.
Dang it, we haven't got the music anymore because you stopped.
Yeah, sorry. We'll go from ladies and gentlemen. Go from I walk in, okay? Okay, I've just walked in. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
I walked in.
Thank you, James. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to No Talent Required. There's been a lot of talk about this first act.
Maybe just a little bit too much talk.
Daniel Epstein
and Simon Katz present to you Rock and Roll.
It's actually for charity, and every year they do a show. Everyone loves these sort of things, and they get together and do loads of acts in the whole school. And it's general time to take the mickey out of teachers as well, which they like.
New Orleans, we backed up in the woods amongst the evergreens. Stood a lone cabin made of pines and wood, where there lived a country boy named Johnny B. Good. Never ever learned to read or write so well, but he could play the guitar just like a ringing bell. Go, go! Go, Johnny, go, go! Go, Johnny, go, go!
Many members of staff are very long-serving at the school. It's the kind of place where people, I think, either settle in and love it, or say, this isn't for me, I'm running.
The place itself is so attractive. It is a religious school, and I like that. I like to teach children from all over the world, their cultures and their different ways of approaching work are of interest to me.
Officially, I retired 4 years ago because I was a senior master as well, and they appointed a new head of mathematics, but I carried on for a couple of years doing the administrative side. And then a librarian decided not to come back, and so the next thing I was asked to do was to take charge of the library.
It's like having, 30 odd sisters if you're in a girls' block. So if you're upset about boys, they're not worth getting upset about anyway, but if you are, you've got your friends to turn to.
I love the atmosphere. I don't know, it's just something, there's something about it that attracts you.
I have forgot the foul conspiracy of the beast Caliban and his confederates against my life. The minute of their plot is almost come.
This one then is lead nitrate. You will write in before you start, appearance before heating, white crystals. So here on number 6, white crystals, write that down. Occasionally we get 1 or 2 that have what we might call ultra-orthodox ideas that might conflict with what is accepted science, but it's only a very rare occurrence. Jewish children are a little more volatile than many English children, for example, very ready to express themselves, very ready to ask questions. This is what you're going to do then with all of these different substances. There are 10 substances altogether. You've already done the first one. They're very eager to learn, so that when they come in, they're always wanting to know, what are we going to do today? They want to know, how are we going to do it? And are we going to do experiments? Are we going to heat things or whatever? Today they're heating, so they're very pleased because they enjoy.
I'm trying to introduce the sixth formers to an important piece of English writing. I asked you to find parts in the passage where you found yourself interested in what Johnson was saying or in some way roused by it. Could I bring people in on that?
Well, Johnson says, I believe it will be found that those who marry late are best pleased with their children and those who marry early with their partners. Mm-hmm. I think that
I'm trying to awaken them to a realization that literature does have roots, and this is a piece of 18th century writing, and I don't think they've encountered much 18th century prose.
I mean, it's important to see why people want to marry. If it's to...
I want them to realize that Johnson's a very sound thinker about human nature indeed. I want them to feel that the passage speaks to them as individuals, as Jews. I want them to think about the issues. I want to test their powers of comprehension. Succinctly, doesn't he? He makes this princess from remote Abyssinia who's reporting upon her observations of civilization. Say that very succinctly, just like any princess normally would. Thanks very much. Michelle, any?
Yes, I like the irony of the situation of when he describes how two young people meet. And it says, having little to divert attention or diversify thought, they find themselves uneasy when they're apart and therefore conclude they'll be happy together.
Yes.
Quite like the irony.
It's very scathing, isn't it? Yes. The whole romantic myth exploded.
When I was reading it, I got the impression from reading it, one would feel that maybe there is no correct time or place to marry. Reading this, I feel that maybe one should just not marry because, he gives the impression you shouldn't marry early for the reasons of children and maturity and this type of thing, and that you shouldn't marry late because you're too late, you've got habits already set and this type of reason.
I think that religious traditions, be they Islamic, Jewish, Christian, are of vital importance to the well-being of society. I think that the more people understand their faith, their own faith, and live by its precepts, the better the world becomes. I think that God's will is fulfilled in many ways, and I think a society which is inimical to having denominational schools is a society which is hostile to a lot of very basic values which I believe in. What worries me is schools which don't have any religious content.
A document called Edict of Toleration.
Pupils from year 1 until the upper 6 must follow a Jewish studies program. My objective in writing out a syllabus for all pupils is that they leave Carmel as knowledgeable young people, as caring people, as people who will make their contribution not only to the Jewish community but to the community at large. But more importantly, they will feel pride in their Jewishness.
The wicked person feels that he's accumulating his wealth through means that one would not, say are acceptable.
One of the topics in the GCSE is the question of why do the wicked prosper? And the section on Jeremiah chapter 12 handles this area.
This all may be true, but it's hard for us to comprehend this. I mean, the people in the past, so many millions of people dying when they've been very righteous people.
Yes.
And then for us to go and who son sinners, to go and live on and live wealthily, and there are other people who just wouldn't understand it.
You're right.
I allow them to be critical of the Bible on one condition.
So how would you explain it to...
I don't want them to present a sentence or a view unless they have investigated it and unless they've also experienced it. You have students, for example, saying that I do not believe in God, or I'm a complete atheist. And in many cases, they really don't know what they're talking about. Or, for example, I am against this aspect of Judaism, when in many cases they haven't investigated, haven't studied it. With regard to other religions, they have to be treated with respect.
Well, that's fine. And obviously there are many people, many people who went through these experiences. And we often refer to, for example, the experiences of the Holocaust. There are many millions that suffered a great deal and yet kept faith with God, right? And those who survived.
I have a very open policy with my students. I ask them very provocative issues, very provocative questions. I want them to be very free with their views. I want them to be able to give me the feelings that they personally are at that moment experiencing, and also that they can direct their most intimate experiences to me.
Yes, come on, Annabelle, yes.
Well, there's quite a lot of bad people in this world, and because they're getting away with it all, then the good people have to try and persuade the bad people to tell the truth, so that in the long run, none of us will suffer.
I hope they'll get a belief in themselves. I hope that he or she will understand why being Jewish is important. I hope he or she will want to contribute to the world at large in a constructive way. I want them to be responsible and thoughtful Jews and to enjoy life. I want them to be glad they're here. I want them to have a sense of their own worth, and one that is firmly founded and not superficial. A very modest wish.